have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents' Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents' Lounge is the cure to staying sane.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special Christmas Eve special of the Parents' Lounge. I am your host, Jason Gown. With me tonight is my buddy.
His horrible lighting, McGillicuddy.
Wow. What are you actually following the star to David then tonight?
The North Star. Here it is. Oh God.
Got your frankincense and myrrh ready, Mulligan?
Yeah. The best presents to bring a baby.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. Honestly, every time I have a friend that has a baby, I'm like, here's your gold, here's your frankincense, and here's your myrrh. Hope you know what to do with them.
Is it easy to get myrrh nowadays? Like, where do you get myrrh? Do you have a myrrh guy?
You know it is. It's easy to get murdered. Do you want to put up the warning?
I can't even justify it. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. How are you? Thank you for asking me to do this with you. Thank you for inviting me in the North Star to come.
Yeah, well, you're very festive, and I appreciate that. We'll notice that Claire is obviously with her family this evening.
Yes.
Jamie Kaler, God knows where he is. I don't know. I have no idea.
I can guarantee he's with his family and wishes he wasn't.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
Where is everyone? You know, like how are y'all? Where is everyone? Where are you guys right now? That's all. Just wanted to ask that. Shout out to wherever you are.
What are your Christmas Eve plans tonight, everybody? What is everybody doing? What are you doing tonight, Kate?
Well, I'm at my sister's house. I'm in my niece's bedroom, and my husband came over to their house today, and it's been a big mask day for us all. We're all in masks all day long, but we sat down to eat, so we were able to take our masks off. I put a lip on for you, Jason.
Yeah.
We're eating a big Italian meal that my husband cooked all day.
Your husband cooked it. Very nice.
Mm-hmm, yeah, he followed the North Star to my niece's room, and then he took a left down to the kitchen. But yeah, he made you ever heard of braciole?
I have.
Okay, so it looks like brocchioli, right? Yeah. That's how it's spelled.
Mm-hmm.
He made a braciole all day long. Came over here at like noon and put a braciole on. Yeah.
Look really at you with the fancy cooking husband.
It's funny because my mom made a joke recently. She's like, it's hard to be the husband because she sort of had roles reversed with my father recently. And I was like, yeah, I'm also the husband because I like paint the cabinets and stuff, and he makes the meals. Oh,
that's awesome,
so
Jess.
Nice.
Also, Jess, thank you for the wonderful gift that you left for my family and I on the porch. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. My kids have already hit the cookies pretty hard.
Yeah. What's going on in your household this evening?
So we're just chilling here tonight. The twins got decided, hey, what the best way to spend Christmas would be? Let's have RSV tonight.
No.
Yeah. Yes. We've decided, we haven't been sick enough with the COVID and then the ear infection. So now we've slapped a little RSV into the party. So we're home tonight.
Is it possible RSV is could they still be having symptoms of COVID, or am I not understanding?
Well, they were completely healed and they hadn't had any issues, and then this kind of rolled in.
It's sort of like when I was pregnant, I just like to blame everything. I was like, my toe got broken because I'm pregnant. And it's like, no, it was because you were walking too fast in the middle of the night to go pee.
Yeah,
So
I'm also
sort of
concerned that you didn't know how pregnancy worked.
Yeah, I was just like, my mouth plaque is terrible. I don't brush my teeth ever, but boy, this pregnancy's been so hard. That's how pregnancy works, right? You get like plaque and you break your toes.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that's how my wife did. My son did want to say hello before we rolled on. Jace, you want to hop in here real quick? I've never met him.
I've never met him, but I feel like I know him because of the advent calendar reveals.
Here we go. Here he is.
Jace, first of all, your recognition of numbers is so fantastic. You say today's day 7, so I need to find the 7. I've been watching your videos about opening the advent calendar. Were you bummed to open your last one today?
Yeah, it was an Ultron.
It was an Ultron. Oh.
We haven't posted it yet, but spoiler alert for everybody.
Wow.
Was in the pocket.
Well, there you go. So it was 100% Marvel.
All of it.
Wild.
Yeah. The box, not so much.
The box, they thought they're like a denim pocket, Transformers.
Wonder Woman.
I'm really bummed that
and Spider.
But yeah.
Yes, Spider-Man.
I'm really bummed there wasn't like a wild card denim pocket in there somewhere.
We were hoping. Also, Ultron was a shitty last one.
And
okay.
Have Miles pajamas.
Oh yeah, he's got his Miles.
Oh, come on. Wait. Okay, so I actually don't know. I'm trying to think. Probably you're too young, but what's the deal on the new Spider-Man movie? Are you allowed to see it or not really?
We're going to go see it probably this weekend at some point.
Yeah.
Dad checked it out first, made sure it was okay, and then that's how we work the Marvel ones.
So
that's great.
So
you can talk about this. Yeah. Sorry, Jace, you go.
So we watched the new Ghostbuster movies, and the guy with the glasses, he turned into a ghost.
And spoiler alert for everyone.
What?
It's just Blue Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Unbelievable. I had no idea. At first I thought you were talking about Egon from the originals.
And
I was like, yeah. Oh, because Egon's in. Oh, dear.
Well, we blew that. All right, Jace. So what have we been looking on the phone today? Who have we been checking and tracking?
Yeah.
Santa.
Brent. Who have you been tracking?
Santa.
Okay, the last time, so are you doing the Santa tracker? I heard he was just in Brazil and maybe now he's in Georgia, the country, not the state. What is your intel telling you? Where is he right now for you?
Scotland.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have to hit the hay soon, don't we? Because Scotland's not all that far away from the East Coast.
Well, we've filled a fairly substantial bottle with Tylenol PM and hot cocoa, and soon it will be bye-bye for certain children in this house.
Are Anthony and why did I forget his name?
Logan.
Anthony and Logan. Are Anthony and Logan still awake?
Well, they went out pretty quickly because they aren't feeling well.
Right. Okay. Oh, those poor guys. Now, Jace, when your little brothers are sick, is it the sort of thing, can you get this? I can't remember if you're too old to get RSV or if anybody can get it.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I told him usually he's the one that brings it home to us.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Hey, by the way, thanks for giving your parents COVID. That was great. We really enjoyed that.
All right.
All right. I was just kidding, sweetheart.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Jace. If there's going to be one thing under your tree tomorrow, just one, you're not going to get 1,000 presents, but like if there could just only be one, what would you have it be?
A spider toy or my dirt bike I wanted?
The dirt bike's not happening. We've already talked to Santa.
Okay. But a Spider-Man toy, though?
Spider-Man toy? We'll see. There's still a chance that I'm going to flag Santa on when he gets to this house. I might just wave him on to the next one. Just wave him on to the next one.
Turn it around. Go look for the star. It ain't here.
Yeah. Mulligan's got it over her sister's place. Well,
Oh, man.
so we've got a special show tonight. You know, it's not our
Yes.
normal night. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about this, but I felt a little weird that Jamie decided he would interview the Grinch and not invite you, me, or Claire to even be part of it.
Listen, I think we all have our talents, and I think probably Jamie's talent is interviewing, I guess, maybe, but I am bummed because I don't know if you guys know this, but I've actually always wanted to meet the Grinch.
Me too. And I
So-
asked him if I could, and he told me it's just a little too big for you, Slick. Just a little too big for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's on My Boys, and then suddenly we're just nothing.
Yeah, he does. He did that list of a lifetime movie, gets nominated for a Critics' Choice Award, and suddenly his partners are too good to do. Can't do.
I guess we can't meet the Grinch. Unbelievable. Well, listen, I mean, I'm excited because I do feel like if Kaler's good at anything, and I don't know that he is good at anything, but if he is good at anything, I feel like from one curmudgeon to another, he might get some intel out of this guy.
Yeah,
You know?
I think if somebody can crack the facade, it's him. So we've got
It's him.
two actually. First, Jamie sits down with the Grinch, and they're going to read the story together and kind of get what the Grinch thought about all of it. And then Jamie went one step further and did a sit-down Oprah-style interview in which he really got deep with the Grinch. He said he got things he's never talked with another person before. So without further ado, Kate and I will be back a little later. But ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Kaler and the Grinch.
3, 1, 2. Merry Christmas, everybody, from the Parents Lounge. Tonight we have a very, very special event. We are going to be reading How the Grinch Stole Christmas with none other than Mr. Grinch.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Grinch, how are you?
I'm hanging in there. It's a rough season for me. People, the slurs and whatnot are in full force. I've been hounded. I've got kids hit me in the face with stuff.
Well, it's odd because, for everyone else, Christmas is typically the happiest time of the year. But for you, it feels like
it's darkness. It's living darkness. It's a living hell. Yeah, for me. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming by. I know you're busy this time of year. I know you hired out. You do a lot of parties, bachelor parties and stuff like that. Bachelorette parties, I know.
Yeah, a lot of bachelorette parties.
Yeah, I'm sure.
People are into some weird stuff. I've had offers that sometimes I can't really wrap my head around.
No, this day and age, people have people go into fetishes, I would say, and I'm sure your your green felt looks very soft and everything. So I'm sure. But anyway, thank you for coming by. We're going to read How the Grinch Stole Christmas with the Grinch.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming along and sharing it with us. So let's just jump right in, shall we?
Yeah. I want to do this because I want to correct some of the wrongities in this.
Yes, I'm sure there are many wrongities.
The wrongities. Yeah.
Well, it's funny how you speak. A lot of people will say, well, that's not grammatically correct. But I mean, who's the king of not grammatically correct but Dr. Seuss and his flugophones and fandoozles and stuff. So,
yeah.
If people understand what you mean, then it's a word. That's my
right.
motto.
You know exactly what wrongities meant.
Please, we all know what wrongities. We've all done a few wrongities before. Let's just jump in.
Yeah.
Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not.
Wait. See? First mistake.
Well, it says the Grinch hated Christmas. That's the next line. The whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. Is that not right?
I hate Christmas because it's the season in which these idiots bamboozled me and bullied me and hurt my feelings and harassed me and pranked me and lit dog poop bags on my porch.
You're speaking of the Who's, of course.
Yes. Those idiots down in that stupid little town.
Well, it's crazy because it says it could be his head wasn't screwed on just right.
My head's just fine.
Could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight.
I get them custom made.
I mean, who wears shoes that are too tight? But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small.
Yeah, that's a real condition. It's called cardiomyopathy, and it's very serious. Also, I'm on medication for it.
Yeah. Whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Who's.
That part is correct. I hate them.
Staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town.
Let me ask you something. How would he have known that?
I don't know.
Because he didn't. He made it up.
That's true. It says, for he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath.
Yep, that they did.
And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then
I do fret it. It gives me anxiety. I get anxiety even hearing the story now.
There's tension. And a lot of words are capitalized, which means emphasis on that. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers, nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
And can you really, like, can I do that? Can I stop Christmas? Can you stop an idea?
Can you stop time? I don't feel like it.
You can't. There's too many of them.
Well, here, I think all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys, and then, oh, the noise! Oh, the noise, 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 noise! That's one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise.
This I will say. That part is true. And he took that one thing, the actual thing that caused all of this that I hated was the noise. Noise, noise, noise. That's the thing. That's what this whole thing boils down to, is the inconsiderate morons didn't care that they were blasting it. You know, my cave reverberates. That echoes.
Well, a big hollow cave, of course, is going to be an echo chamber in there. But here, let me ask you this. Who doesn't hate noise? He's not saying like it's mellifluous music. It's not a beautiful, he doesn't say he hates this beautiful sound. He hated the noise. I'm telling you right now, look at that drum right there.
Let me tell you something.
Horrible.
People don't know this. I love sweet jazz that's smooth like butter.
Well, look, there's a train, there's a drum.
Hold that picture back up again. Let me tell you something, Jimmy. How many instruments do you know that involve arrows that are made out of plunges? How much music do you know that incorporates a plunger arrow?
Look at there's tons of them. They look super noisy.
It's idiotic chaos. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I know. You know what else? He hates the feast. Now, to be fair, you can tell from your figure that you're a pretty slim guy.
Yes.
So, I mean, does that seem gluttonous to you at all?
It's excess. There are, how many people would you say in this world who have nothing on Christmas? They don't. They don't have a meal.
And honestly,
these guys get into this big party and eat till they almost explode.
And you're a man of meager means. You live in a cave, and obviously we've seen the cave. It's not well decorated. There's probably photos of it later in the book. And
the other thing is, I donate all of my access to charity.
I mean, here's a photo later of you in a cave that you really just have a mirror.
Yeah, because I'm not an animal.
You put together a Santa Claus suit. Oh, and here they are, making more noise. A lot of noise going on down there.
And they don't.
I've had neighbors who made horrible noise, and I got to tell you right now, I called the police.
Yeah, and that's what I did.
She had a Halloween party. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I got a 6-year-old. I'm like, hey, crazy pants. You're living this is a residential neighborhood. We're not in Soho. Tone it down. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and even when I called the police and just filed a simple civil complaint about the noise, do you think the police heard me? No, because the whole thing is it's an intertwined conspiracy covering, forget this, drug cartel.
For the Who's. Makes total sense. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the town in Roadhouse, where the one guy runs the whole town, and he can do whatever he wants. He drives down the middle of the road or whatever. Nobody can stop him because the sheriff's his brother. They're all related, and they're Who's. Look at this. It says they sing. Who wants to hear that next door? That's like
no one. It's like an episode of Ozark down there.
Boom.
Yeah.
Enough said. And obviously, we know that Ozark. They look like people from Ozark, don't they?
Don't they? Yeah. And that's what I'm dealing with.
Look at this guy right here. What's going on? What's going on with his head?
Yeah, he hit the Who hash pretty hard.
I think he did. I think he absolutely did. So he gets an idea. an awful idea. Awful to the Who's. It's a great idea for the Grinch. The Grinch got a wonderful, not an awful idea. I would argue he got a one. How can you have a one? That's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
That's an oxymoron. Got a wonderful, awful idea.
Yeah. This guy's revered as this amazing writer. No, he's an idiot.
What are they serving? Jumbo shrimps? Come on.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant idea, what you did. Although, I mean, you put on a costume. Here's my question.
What?
No one ever really sees Santa Claus, and everyone in the Who's. You put the effort in. A lot of people would have said, look, I'm just going to go down and I'm going to take everything to shut them up because they're being
a little simple B&E. Right.
But you said, look, just in case a little girl sees me, I don't want to wreck Christmas. I don't, you're not a Grinch in a way because you didn't want to tell some little poor girl that there was no Santa. So you said, you know what? I'll go the extra effort. Listen, I just want them to be quiet, but I don't want to kill Christmas. Am I right?
Right. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to save these kids' dreams. That I don't want to crush dreams. And is that how they paint me?
Yeah. That's what they say. They say, here's the other thing. You go full force on the costume. Obviously, you made that. You're like a seamstress. If you told me right now to take, you said, here's some red fabric and some white fluffy stuff and said, Jamie, make a Santa Claus outfit. I couldn't do it.
Look, I'm wearing it right now. You can see it's quality work, right?
Really quality work.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, you might be a haberdashery.
Yes.
You could be easily a dressmaker in Paris or something.
But, I did, here, people don't know this, but I grew up on a farm in Iowa. And I used to have to sew all our clothes and like hand-me-downs and whatnot. Yeah.
See, that's the problem. It looks like the Who's to me are a bunch of those are spoiled, rotten children who got everything they wanted. You grew up meager. You're just saying, hey, listen, man, it's a holiday. Just keep it down. And you're the dick. I don't buy it. So
Always.
You go out of your way. You could just go down. You could literally just torch the place.
I could have
just burned it to the ground. The whole
thought about it.
A couple jerry cans of gas. A match. Boom. Up it goes. Thank you.
A couple of Molotov cocktails would have done a whole lot of damage down there.
You didn't do that.
I didn't.
Listen, I'm asking you to be quiet. Let me see if I can arrange something. You make an outfit, not just that, but just in case the little girl goes, hey, Santa, where are your reindeer? Boom. You have the forethought to take your dog, who's a willing accomplice. He's part of this.
He is. Yeah. It was some of this was his idea.
Even he's like, hey, he's looking up like, hey, does this fit? Does this look like a reindeer? He's not sad. He's saying, let's do this. The whole thing is written. If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on top of his head. A lot of effort. You ever try to put a costume on a dog for Halloween? A lot of work.
Yeah, and that's just a random horn that I made out of foam.
Yeah, easily. It's obviously
it's like upholstery foam.
You're not torturing dogs. It's like
no.
And the
look, some of these ladies who put their dogs in little purses do more damage to their dogs than I did there.
It's freezing cold at night.
Yes.
You still are like, look, I got to do this, and so you go all the way down there, and a lot of work. You put a lot of work into this.
They needed to learn what they were doing.
All the windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist.
Stop. No, I didn't. I never once climbed a chimney. Not once.
Well, then there's a door right there.
Yes.
The Who's aren't locking it. Why would you go down the chimney when you could just go through the door? It seems.
I didn't, because he really went out of his way to try and paint me as some sort of lunatic.
Well, again, we're talking about Dr. Seuss, not his real name.
Not his real name.
If you're going to tell the truth, why
hide it? What's he hiding?
What is he hiding? Well, his name's Theodore Geisel, but his friends probably call him Ted. I've known a few Teds in my time. What do you think, Ted Bundy? Please. Anybody with the name Ted, I don't trust.
We don't trust him. We don't.
No, the whole thing seems very suspect. And so, you brought it back. He slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch. Nobody goes,
look, and then he makes some sort of fat shaming joke.
Every year people die. They think they're being funny. They try to get down the chimney. They don't find him for like 2 years, and they go, "Where's Tom?" And Tom's in the chimney.
That's the most tragic part of the movie Gremlins.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think this book almost teaches kids to try to go down chimneys.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, this is crazy. You get down there. Here's the picture he shows. Look at the just gluttonous amount of toys under the tree. Wasting all this money on garbage toys, yet they can't afford separate beds for the kid. 5 kids in a bed.
In some states it's illegal to even do that. They have to have their own rooms. That's not okay.
It should be every state. 5 kids in a bed is insanity. You can't. You ever try to sleep? My wife and I don't sleep 2 hours without her waking up to go pee or rolling over or having a panic attack about one of the kids or something. And you're telling me 5 kids are sound asleep in a bed the whole night?
That's not sleep, Jamie. That's not restful sleep.
My kids come sleep in my bed. I'm up all night. It's painful, very painful. He slithered, he slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about that part. Do I look with this, I've got a pretty thick amount of fur. Do I look like I can slither?
No. You definitely didn't slunk. I know that.
No, I'm not a slunker. I've never been a slunker. I'm not going to start now.
Here's what I ask you. So, first of all, they give here are the presents: pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorns, and plums.
Who the hell gives plums for Christmas?
Guns? I don't know about the guns and stuff. But it feels to me a lot. They get bicycles and tricycles and roller skates, and then a checkerboard.
Excess.
Weird group. An excess. Like gluttonous. Just gluttonous.
Because you get one-wheeled vehicle. That's it.
Yeah. And also, look at the food. Again, I would argue all the food that they have in there, it's just jammed with food, right? 5 kids in a bed.
You'll notice that's a whole turkey. It's not carved, and it's just already cooked and in there.
They just cooked the turkey. There's a fish. The fish. That's obviously, it looks like one of the red fish, blue fish, yellow fish, green fish. Right?
It does kind of look like Larry, doesn't it?
So all of a sudden it's like, oh, look at these fish. They're all different. We're all friendly with them. And then the next book is like, oh, we ate those fish. They were delicious.
Yeah. I know Larry and John, the red and blue fish. And let me tell you something. Geisel hurt them. He hurt those guys.
He hurts everybody. Horton, all of them. Whole thing.
Oh, you want to talk about Horton?
I mean, if you want to go into it, I know it's a sore subject between you and he. And I know that Cat and the Hat's involved as well. And there's a whole.
Yeah. So we have a support group.
Well, he does have a class action lawsuit, I believe, at this point.
Well, that's kind of hush-hush right now because, that's on the horizon. He's got a great legal team. Getting through it's going to be tough. But, Horton had a real mental condition. He was breaking down. He believed that he was hearing who's. Who's don't live anywhere near Horton. He never heard of who. What he heard was the resounding judgment of people who were attacking him because the book was written about him. He had a real mental condition. He was having delusions of grandeur.
Makes sense.
Yeah, not okay.
No, it's not okay. It's not okay to pick on people who have are mentally challenged at all. And I think Dr. Seuss, look at the way he draws you. Obviously,
do I look like that?
No.
He whitewashed me in the book.
Whitewashes you. Obviously he's a racist in some way. And then he goes, oh, let's give him pink eye. So he looks like he has pink eye.
Yeah. And I didn't.
Pink eye, man.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that means you're contagious. Have you ever been around someone with pink eye? You're like, dude, get away from me, pink eye, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And they treat me like I'm some sort of disease.
That's again, just one more way he strikes out to hurt other people. He probably has damaged himself. Oh, so okay, here. So Cindy Lou comes up. So all of a sudden there's a little, I don't know, what's Cindy Lou? 2? Is she maybe 2 years old?
Maybe, yeah.
What kind of parent lets a 2-year-old just wander around the house in the middle of the night?
Not a good one.
You don't have a little child-proof gate or a little monitor to go, hey, Cindy Lou boo-hoo's up. Maybe we should go down and put our kid back to bed before she burns the house down, walks outside, jumps in a guy's van who offers her candy.
Yeah, let me ask, did I not say to you, how did I get in the house?
Right through the front door. Walked right through the front door.
That's that house. That's that house.
And also, you could have just said, hey, I'm doing this because you guys are being too noisy. Shut the blank up and go tell your parents that. But no, you're a good cat. She's a little girl. And all of a sudden, you need to tell her, that you're Santa Claus or whatever. And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head and he got her a drink and sent her to bed. He even got her a drink. That took some action.
What I don't tell you is I did mess with him a little there. I actually gave her 2 shots of espresso with a lot of sugar and milk and just sent her back to bed. Because I know in 2 hours she's going to be up bothering them.
Well, the parents probably are just dosing her with Benadryl at night just to get her to go.
That's probably true.
Well,
Yeah.
there's the cup. Actually, they got that right. Because see the little coffee cup? That looks like an espresso
I
cup to
told
me.
you. Yeah, see? Yeah.
That actually makes a lot of sense now. Then you left. You took a log. To be fair, you live in a freezing cold cave on a mountaintop. It's the one thing where you're like, hey, actually, I could use the log.
Yeah, heating that thing ain't cheap.
And then there's a mouse. Here's the other thing.
I never did that. I never took from that mouse.
You get children, right? And then the house is infested with mice.
Yeah. And it wasn't just one. And I didn't take from them.
A lot of disease in mice as well. And then if I saw mice in my house with my children, I'm setting traps. That's how I do.
And a reasonable person would.
Yep. So you're all the way up. Oh my gosh. Can you look at the amount of greed from these people? Are you kidding me? Look at that.
At this point, I had only been to like 3 houses at that point.
It looks like that. And then how many trips? And you had to do hundreds and hundreds of trips to get the stuff out.
Yeah, it was several dozen. Yeah.
Still a snooze with the trappings. He makes it look like you were going to throw the stuff 3,000 feet up. I mean, come on.
How does he judge that, really? Like, how did he judge that?
Pretty high to get a dog to drive.
Was he out there? No. He's a human being, and he wasn't out there.
3,000 feet up the side of Mount Cruppet. He rode with his load to the tip top to dump it. Poo-poo to the whoos. He was grinchishly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the whoos down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo.
That part, I did say that, but he's taking it out of context.
Probably a little bit. And honestly, it just shows how, listen, perception's everything. If you thought that you lived next door for years. If you think they're that greedy, it's probably a lot of truth in it.
Here's how I played it. Here's how it went in my head. When you were in grade school, did you ever get in trouble for taking like a toy to school you weren't supposed to take?
Of course. I still do.
And the teacher took it. And then what happened at the end of the day?
She gave it back.
After you learned your lesson.
What she was saying is, she's saying, hey, listen, I want you to play with toys, just not now. In the same way that you were saying, listen, you can make some noise, not at the crack of dawn on Christmas morning, you crazy pants. Like, it's a holiday. Can we just wake up? Let's have a cup of coffee. Let's relax, chill, maybe some noise in the afternoon. But you don't just crank it up in the morning, because obviously everybody's up having a couple cocktails on Christmas Eve, right? Christmas morning's a little banged up, and all of a sudden you're like, these crazy pants down the hill are like, can't have it. Can't have it.
Can't have it.
Can't have it.
Can't have it. And some would call me some more maniacal monster. I'd venture I was being a good parent.
In a way, you're the only parent in the whole story. I would say.
The only good one.
I would think that these people, although, they're nihilists in a way. Always just pleasure. It's about pleasure. Any of them have a job? I don't know. What's happening?
Well, they're all running, they're running their drugs and their who hash and their roast beef.
Obviously, you see the look on their faces. There's drugs involved. There's nobody's that happy all the time, especially a parent. A lot of these people.
Take a look at their cold dead eyes in that book, because there's nothing. It's just they're functioning totally on their head at this point.
I would argue that this one picture. Come on. If that's not a cult, I don't know. Is that a cult? When's the last time you sat with like 100 people, held hands? It's like I'd like to teach the world to sing Coca-Cola commercial from 1972, where you're like, come on, man.
Shades of the Branch Davidians right there.
That's right. And now, honestly, some of these guys look like Koresh. That guy in the middle right there. Come on. It's got a crazy cult-like status to it.
Yeah, and they were. But that's not how they're portrayed in media.
Well, if you look at this, look at the picture really closely. Every single one of them, huge smiles, eyes are closed tight. What's that remind you? Who looks like this? Drug addict.
Yeah. Hold that up again.
If those people aren't all
see that big broad in the center and right near the crease in the page.
Yeah.
See her?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that one.
Yeah, she's in charge of the whole thing.
That makes sense. And the guy right there, he doesn't.
That's Linda Layhu, and she is, well, I'm going to be honest, she's a bitch, and she targeted me. She's the one that wanted me going down because I wasn't going to go along with her plans. Yeah, look at it. Look at his stupid face.
Drugs. They're high on something.
They are.
Yeah. So he gets all the way to that point, right? And then Stevie Lou's home. She's jacked up on espresso. He gets up there. He's about to throw it over the cliff, so they say.
And they didn't.
In reality, you just took it up the hill.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't going to throw it. You were just kind of hovering it there. And then Seuss blows you out of the water and says, because here's the poem. It's a boring story if it's like, what did he do? Oh, he just took their stuff. He was going to return it later if they didn't make noise. That's not a great story. There has to be peril to set up the third act, or otherwise there's no third act. It's like, well, where's the character turn? So they have to make this arc. It's an archetype thing. It's storytelling. It's just the way it goes. And so he makes you, it's like when they film Survivor. That guy who comes out as the villain, he's not really a villain. They just cut all the little pieces where he acts like a dick, and then they play him as the villain. So
I'm a victim of lies and bad editing.
That's what I would say. I would totally agree with that. So he says, "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow.
Yeah.
But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise.
Yeah. So let me ask you, if suddenly you think that they're going to be completely destroyed and they're immensely happy for some inexplicable reason, what do you think they done? What do you think they done?
I'm going to say all eyes are closed, giant smiles on their faces.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Yes.
down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all.
Yeah, they bring out their stupid giant half-assed Coachella and they're partying it up down there.
Here's the other thing. If you look at the two photos, they're in the exact same positions. See it?
Because they probably never left.
Well, they went to bed. We know they went to bed. But that's even crazier. They went back and they lined up in the exact same positions, the exact same clothes. That guy's got the bow tie on and the day before. They don't even change their clothes. That's drug addiction. Am I crazy?
Yeah. And they get the kids. The kids are out there too.
Dude, Jim Morrison wore those leather pants for about 2 years in a row because he was jacked on drugs.
Yes.
Their eyes are closed. They didn't even notice the presents are missing. But Seuss says about you, he hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came somehow or other. It came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. And the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store.
That's true. It comes from Amazon.
It used to. Well, when this book was written, there wasn't Amazon. But
true. Yeah.
So now it doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. Well, the truth is, Christmas is Jesus Christ's birthday. That's what the holiday is about.
Has nothing to do with the Who's.
Has nothing to do with the Who's sitting around singing. They don't go to church. They don't do anything. So, it's their own version of Christmas, I guess. But it's not Christmas.
Do you see even one nativity set in that town?
Yeah. And Christmas isn't about giving presents anyway. So why the greed and excess? Oh, and then they say you come screaming down. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say, did we miss the? There it is. Grinch's. Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
No, I didn't even go down there.
Yeah, the whole story. I mean, it's a great listen. It's a great story. It's a great story.
And that's all it is.
But it's sad that it's at your expense, really.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't ask for this.
Well, no, nobody asked. But in retrospect, how does the whole story really end? I know there was some legal battles, and I know that there's a civil trial probably still pending in the court.
They're still harassing me even today. I get threats regularly from them.
Now
I don't even live on Mount Crumpet anymore. I have a place in Pasadena.
Well, you couldn't even sell that thing, from what I understand. You tried to sell it, but after the story, nobody would buy it because they knew there was a crappy neighbor they couldn't get rid of.
Right. I tried to make it a rental property at first. Couldn't get anybody to go in, and then I just let it to go for foreclosure because I had no other options.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's just sad that it has to end that way. But I know, I think in this retelling of it, I think we've really gotten to the bottom of what Christmas is really all about. And I think that you really embody what Christmas is about, Mr. Grinch.
Thank you. I do a lot of activism. Leo DiCaprio and I, we talk a lot. We got a lot of things we're going to do.
Sure.
They don't talk about that in the books. People who know me, they know the work that I do, that I really do.
Well, that's, obviously I know you have, you're a social influencer now. I know you have an Instagram page and
7.7 million followers.
And I know you won't just do ads for anything. You're very, very picky.
Has to be something I either really believe in or I actually use. Yeah.
What's next for you?
Well, I'm trying to reinvent myself. I've got a few screen credits to my name. But I don't want to go for the Grinchy roles anymore. That's not what I don't want to go for the meat and potatoes. I tried out for a play on Broadway. Yeah. I haven't heard back yet, but I do feel like it went well.
What play was it?
Aladdin. I was going to go out for the genie. I know I'm the wrong color, but isn't that what acting really is?
Sure. I know you did a production that got shut down by COVID last year, but you were just about to put up The Odd Couple on Broadway.
Yeah. Here, and that was where I started to reinvent myself. I was going to play Felix instead of Oscar.
Wow, that's a
yeah.
And who was going to play Oscar?
Oh, Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc, that would have been good. But I know you.
He's fantastic.
I know you and Oscar the Grouch had a bit of a problem because you guys would see each other at every audition, and it was almost like, Do
you ever have one of those guys when you're out doing auditions that like you're the same type, and he always seems to book it?
Yeah, it can get frustrating. I know. I have a few guys like that in my past and stuff.
And the same for me. And I believe that I am more talented. I really am. But
Well, he doesn't. He only can say really the word cookie. He doesn't say much else but cookie.
And scram. He just yells scram and waves his idiot hands around.
Cookie, but he has a very distinctive tone, and he would be hard to cast. I feel like you have a little more range than the cookie.
I do. Yeah, I can do drama, comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, listen. Thank you so much, and to anyone who's watching tonight, I hope you enjoyed this reading from the Grinch's point of view of how the Grinch stole Christmas. I think it was fantastic. And I know you're a parent as well, because this whole thing was done for the Parents Lounge.
Yeah.
And
I have a daughter. Her name is Sarah, and she's a wonderful kid. Yeah, she is. And she's, I'm not a who, I'm a what, and that's our culture. And she's, she wears the green proud. She's proud of her heritage. She knows where she comes from. She knows not to believe in the movies, but I can't imagine being that kid in today's age, knowing, the kids today, they don't know, they're not going to ever know the truth. I mean, I try, but it's a struggle for her. I just love the kid. Oh,
I know. I get emotional as a parent myself, and I know you and your ex-wife, it didn't work out, and that you're basically a single parent. And I know you're doing some online dating, from what I understand. You're on Raya, I believe it's called Raya.
Yeah, I've been on that. I tried Farmer's Friend. That didn't really work out for me.
No, I can see that. I can see where that wouldn't work out and stuff. So, well, listen, we wish you the best, and I hope you'll come back often and visit us every. You don't have to just come for Christmas, honestly. You're welcome any time of the year here at the Parents Lounge.
For you, Jamie, anytime. I appreciate you giving me a platform to, talk about what really happened.
Well, I think it's important to hear both sides of every story. So now you guys have, it's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or let's just say how the Grinch was annoyed by his next door neighbor and tried to do it as peacefully as possible to settle the dispute, but was vilified in the press by none other than Dr. Seuss. That should be the name of the book, I feel like.
Screw that guy.
Well, yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this reading of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas with the Grinch. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, baby. We'll see you next time. Wow.
There's a lot to unpack.
Right. Yeah. Deeper than I thought it was going to go.
It's so funny. I just feel like we're hearing such echoes of, what we're hearing throughout society these days,
And this has been going on for, 50 years. This guy's been dealing with
50 years. But it was so touching when he starts talking about his daughter, Sarah, how he got choked up.
Did you know he had a daughter?
Hold on.
No, of course not. No. Jace, did you know the Grinch had a daughter?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I also never knew that his breed was a what?
Yeah, that was a first for me too.
Yeah.
It makes sense though, because they were whos and he's a what.
Yeah. Oh, I see Jobo's here. Hey, Jobo.
Jobo, what's up, buddy?
Merry Christmas, sweet friend.
Yeah, Jobo, thanks for joining us. Super excited that everybody's here tonight. It's a special. Jason, so hi, Jobo.
Hi, Jobo. Yeah.
So what do you guys got planned for the rest of tonight, Kate?
We are gonna go have some cookies, and then we have a tradition where every Christmas Eve, I used to open up one present from my parents, and it was always pajamas, and then I would put those pajamas on, and those would be the pajamas we would wear the next day. So we're gonna go do that.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes.
And your kid, I saw your kids were watching some of
They were, yeah. Neil thought this was hilarious because he loves the word idiot, and boy, good old Grinchy really throws the idiot word around a lot.
Yeah,
but, one of my favorite lines and one of Neil's favorite lines was, how would he know that what I was doing? He didn't. This guy's an idiot. It's really, really good. Really good stuff.
Oh, Jobo does the pajama thing too.
Jobo, is your kiddo still awake? Or is your kid already asleep, Jobo? Jobo's got, I think, a 5 or a 6-year-old.
I can't remember.
But yeah, that's what we're doing. And so what's the Gowan family tradition? You guys.
So we're going to watch a Christmas movie yet to be decided.
Yes.
Tonight. And then we're going to, we'll have some hot cocoa and some snacks. Yeah! And then we're going to kind of coast through till it's bedtime, because the later we keep him up, the later he sleeps in tomorrow.
Yeah. It's funny. I always thought that would be the case. The later you keep them up, the later they sleep. But that, at a certain age, it actually backfires. They just
I feel like that's going to be this year for us. I do, because he's got that internal school clock still thing going on.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But that's what the horse tranquilizer's for.
That's that and combating COVID. You could just do that instead of a vax, guys. JK, not a doctor, just a joke. Oh my gosh.
So we do have the second half in which Jamie had a sit-down interview with the Grinch, in which he really, they scratched the surface just a little bit there. So now we're going to go back to Jamie and the Grinch, and Jamie's going to kind of dig Oprah style into what was going on there.
I've heard that there has not been, since Meghan and Harry sat down with Oprah, there has never been such an earth-shattering interview as this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Kaler live in the field with the Grinch.
First of all, Mr. Grinch, thank you. Well, thank you for joining us in the Parents Lounge. It's great to have you.
I had nothing better to do, so why not spend time with you, I guess.
Sure. I get it. That's your sense of humor.
I'm dark. Yeah, you're gonna find that.
Sure. I'll listen. I'm from Boston. I'm a little dark too.
What side?
I'm a huge fan. My kids are huge fans and stuff. So I just want to. It's been a long time. The original special came out many, many years ago. What have you been up to lately?
I've fallen on tough times, Kayla. I really have. I was facing eviction from the cave. There were a family of bears that were quite literally trying to throw me out. So, I blew through all the money from the book. Then I blew through all the movie from the Jim Carrey film. And the Benedict Cumberbatch one never really made me as much cash as people think it did.
Oh, I'm not familiar with the Benedict Cumberbatch one. He did
It's
one.
animated. It's terrible. And look, I'll sell my rights for a nickel. I really will. So I sold the rights. I should have had script approval. I didn't, and not great, but it paid for another year of my kids' college.
Great, and I know we don't want to go into too personal because I know your kids. There's very a lot of privacy issues, and I know they've been harassed before. A lot of people they still think of you as the bad guy in a way. A lot of people, do you ever get sick of people using the term Grinch? Like, oh, you're a Grinch. Means like you're a buzzkill. You're not into what's happening. Does that bother you?
I think at a time of cancel culture, I think Grinch is offensive. I think it is. A lot of people don't know my real name is Thaddeus. People don't know that.
I didn't know that. Thaddeus.
Yeah, it's Thaddeus, and people don't call me that. They just anyway. Listen, it's a racial slur, Jamie, and people don't understand that's offensive. In a time of Me Too and all of these and cancel culture, you can't keep calling me this.
Well, also I know there's a big uproar against people who are green and stuff.
Me, Kermit, Shrek, we're in a union.
Oh, there's a green. I didn't know there was a green union.
Yeah, union. It's Green 345. We're out of Los Angeles, and we got together because people are very prejudiced against the color. I don't know why. Wicked Witch of the West. She's another one. Her real name is Sylvia. Delightful woman, but she's got a bad rap.
A lot of times, you become a product of your environment. Let's talk real quick about your childhood, because the only time we ever really see you is, the story doesn't start until you're up in the cave, and obviously the Who's, who I'm sure they can be annoying in their own right. As a neighbor, they seem like they make a lot of noise. So I was always kind of on your side anyway, like, hey, keep it down over there.
I mean, we've all had a neighbor like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I never faulted you in the first place. I always thought, who are these people to be, making all that noise next door?
Yeah.
But a lot of people look at people's childhoods and they say, product of the environment. What was your childhood like?
I grew up in the Midwest, in a small town in Iowa. We lived on a farm. I was a farmhand for most of my young days. My dad drank a lot. People don't know that. He drank a lot. And, I saw things I probably shouldn't have from an angry perspective. You know how it is. You've heard this story a million times. I'm from that culture, Jamie. I came from that, and some of it held over to adulthood.
Well, I would imagine a lot of it did. You did therapy though? I know that obviously by the end of they say you stole Christmas, but
did I though?
Can you steal Christmas? It's like it's stealing an idea.
At best, I could have been charged with petty theft.
That's and trespassing, breaking and entering.
Oh yeah, little B&E, and they did try to charge for that, but I got the charges dropped.
I mean, to be fair, I always felt like year after year the Who's were taunting you in a way. Did they ever invite you down to just say, "Come, why don't you come and be part of this?" Or were they like, "Ha ha ha, you can't play"?
No, and here's the thing: once people brought a focus to it, then they acted like they did, but not once, not one time, not one damn time, Jamie, not one time. Do you know? I could hear it. They know I'm up there. And they know that somebody must have thought, he's got feelings. I've got feelings, Jamie. Oh, sorry,
I totally get it. And please take your time and stuff. I'm really thankful that you came on to really discuss this, because a lot of people don't get your side of the story. I feel like.
I just want people to understand that just because I've been painted a certain way for a very long time, and I've made mistakes. I know that. I made mistakes.
We've all made mistakes.
But people change, Jamie. People change. I haven't stolen a full Christmas from a house in probably 20 years. Partial Christmas, because that stuff's hard to break. It's a disease. It's a sickness.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you get to that point where, it must have felt good to, get into people's homes and take their things. I mean, I understand that.
We didn't have a lot growing up. We didn't. My family worked hard. I mean, we had. I'm I'm the middle child of 5. I'm actually the middle child of 5. Yeah. So I was stuck working all the time because the older one was going to go off to college and the youngest ones were too young. So I did the brunt of the work, Jamie, and we didn't have a lot. And there was something that just, it satisfied the need inside me to take those things. It did.
Well, it's interesting you were the Jan of your family, because I think in many ways, when we used to watch the Brady Bunch, we always saw that Jan could be kind of a Grinch, not to use your name in a derogatory term. But
No, and
Jan was very similar to you. And I think sometimes the middle child, the first child gets everything, the last child is spoiled, and then the middle child is kind of, not a party pooper, but definitely doesn't enjoy like watching the Who's have a fantastic event and not invite you in. It feels, I think a lot of the blame lays on the Who's, to be fair.
It does. Look, and here's the thing. Everybody thinks they're so great, but they're not. You know that they were a front for a drug cartel.
That makes a lot of sense, because nobody's that happy in life without a little boost from drugs, I believe.
Think of some of them things that like roast beast. Like, let's face it, that's terminology. That's slang, baby. That's some potent stuff. Roast beast. They were smoking things, Jamie.
Well, that's obvious. You can see the look on their faces is very euphoric.
They
wake up, everything's gone. Everything's been stolen, taken. I mean, to be fair, you were a thief. You took things.
I admit that. I made mistakes.
And I think that in the court proceedings, we know there was a civil case after. And that was because obviously, even though you came down and brought everything back, there was some things were damaged.
Yeah, I got slapped with some community service, and I had court mandated therapy, and that was and there's some fines. There were fines.
Well, a lot of that was due to the abuse to Max, which, I mean, he's a dog, and you didn't treat him right, and they
paint that road too, because Max was a willing participant.
You see the look in his eye and you go, he knows what's going on. And he's been with you for a long time. He could have left.
He's
not chained.
No, he wasn't chained. And also, there were trap doors all over the cave. He could have gotten out anytime he wanted, but he didn't leave.
That's it. And that's
I heard somebody say, somebody said, maybe he had Stockholm syndrome, but that's not what it was. It wasn't. Max and I had a healthy friendship at one point. Were there rough patches? Sure. Who hasn't had a rough patch?
Sure.
But I never abused him. No.
I mean, he's sticking around because you feed him.
Yeah, I feed him.
I mean, you gave him food, you gave him shelter all those years, and
took him to the vet. And let me tell you something. That Seresto flea collar ain't cheap. That ain't cheap.
No. But anyway, so back to the Who's. Everything is stolen, right? And any normal person, what do? They wake up and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we've been robbed.
Yeah.
We should call the police." What do? They walk outside, form a little drum circle, and start singing.
And sing like a bunch of freaking idiots. Yeah.
Drugs have to be
normal. That's normal. Yeah. Let's sing about our troubles. It's not Avenue Q, baby. It's not Avenue Q. It's not Hamilton.
Well, no, obviously it's who ba, and also there's barely lyrics. It's ba who ba who.
It's noise. It's just senseless noise.
I mean, listen, once a year, I had a neighbor just recently, a very famous woman who lives near me, had a huge Halloween party that went to like 1:00 in the morning. Everyone called the cops. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't care. At some point, you got little kids. You're like, hey, turn the music down, dude. You know what I mean? We're trying to get some sleep up here on the mountain. And those people are having a crazy party, tearing it up. Can't have it.
Look, they started their drivel at 7:00 in the morning. Noise ordinance says, and it's very clear, 9 a.m. They can't start that till 9 a.m. And sure, the cops just let it go because it's Christmas and he's in on it. He's in on it.
He's one of the Who's. He's probably related to half the town.
He was. And they all are covering for each other. They all know what's going on. They know where Whoville money comes from. It's a trickle-down effect. You know how it goes.
I know. It's terrible stuff. But, and also it's Christmas Day, right? The noise ordinance has to be like, you can't do that on a holiday. Say some guy starts building a house next door and drilling on Christmas Day. I'm like, hey, dude, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
they didn't give two flying monkeys' asses about me up there. They just didn't.
It never seemed like they did. But the way I read it, the Who's are the villains.
Thank you. Somebody finally gets it. Thank you, Jamie Kaler. I appreciate it. You know, here's the thing. At the time that that book was written, it was socially acceptable to make jokes at my people's expense. You could make a green joke. You could do it. Did we like it? No. But it happened, and it was socially, at the time, with certain cultures, acceptable. You couldn't write that book now. You couldn't. You could not do that book now because the woke culture has helped some. But they didn't care that not only me, but, I have family. I have sisters and brothers and parents and cousins. You don't think that these other Grinches were affected? You don't think so? Well, they were. There's a history of drinking and depression in my family, and it's all because of that book.
And that actually is an interesting point because a lot of people didn't know the Grinch culture until this came out. And I think people think that you are a standalone person, but obviously you came from somewhere. You have parents. There must be other Grinches out there.
Yeah, there are. And the actual terminology for my people we're not who's, but we're actually what's.
Makes a lot of sense. And
yeah,
so
what? Yeah.
Okay, so they're the who's, you're the what, and you're all in the where.
Yes, correct.
The question was why.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the book tries to answer why, but at your expense.
Yeah. They didn't care. They didn't care how that affected my life after. Do you know I couldn't even get a Sam's Club or a Costco membership after that book came out?
They said no.
No, they didn't want my kind in there. That's what they said.
Well, I mean, I know the charges were, it's a felony theft. So you probably can't vote, but on a positive note, you don't have to do jury duty, which is always great.
Yeah, and also I've got extreme views that would also disqualify me from a lot of trials. Yeah.
Well, what's funny is you're a native. You are from the United States, I believe.
Correct, Iowa.
You were born here, but because of your outward appearance, people see you as a foreigner. And I think that's wrong. Yeah.
And it hasn't stopped today. It's less, sure, in certain circles, but it still goes on.
To me, at the beginning of this book, you are just minding your own business.
And I was.
You're up there doing whatever you do in a cave at the top of a mountain, which it just doesn't really go into it. What do you normally, what would a day for you be like? Because in the book, they make it out like your only thought is how do I get back at the Who's? When obviously you're off living your own life, and these insane little tiny people are making a lot of racket. And you're like, but in the book it says, oh, that's all he thinks about. But obviously you're doing other stuff. I
had other things. Look, I am an avid Price is Right fan. I would watch Price is Right. People don't know this. I'm very big into scrapbooking. I scrapbook a lot. I have a lot of stuff. I can make beautiful collages, Jamie. And do you think anybody cares about that? Anybody cares about my collages? No. They care that I got fed up with the bull honky from the Who's. Look, I called the cops. I'm going to be honest. This whole story, I called the cops and I said, look, there's a major drug deal going down. I've had it with these folks. I have constantly reported this, and you guys have done nothing. So I went to the FBI. I told them what was going on, and things broke down after that. But look, do you think that the Who's let it go? No, they make my life miserable right up until today.
The whole thing makes total sense. And they're all horrible drug addicts, right? Because Cindy, Lou, boo-hoo. In what house does a child of that age able to just get up and walk around the house without the parents monitoring her or being awake? As a parent, how old was she? 2, maybe 3 years old?
Yeah, maybe 2. Yeah.
So you're telling me you run a house down in Whoville where Cindy is allowed to just get up out of her bed, wander around the house,
and she was.
Obviously, there's no doors. There's no locks. I don't know if you know why you use the chimney. You could have just walked in the front door, but I think you were probably trying to, it was for.
Well, I
might be part of the book's effect. You probably did
walk
right through the front door, and the book was like, no, let's make him go through the chimney.
Yeah, I did. A lot of the places I just walked in the front door.
But what kind of crazy parent? And here's another thing: all the kids are sleeping in one bed, right? They're all in one bed right there,
which is illegal in some states.
It should be. And honestly, that doesn't make any sense.
I know, and I know where I came from. They were supposed to each have their own room. Yeah, They weren't even supposed to be sharing rooms.
I
That's
mean,
state
they're
law.
5 in a bed. There's
Yeah.
5 who's in a bed. At some point, you're like, social services need to step in and go, look, you shouldn't have had 5 kids. You can't afford 5 kids. And I know you're out there on drugs in a circle, smiling happy, but at some point, somebody's got to take care of the little who's.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, like, oh, you can pick on the what that lives up in the mountains. Hey, how about maybe try some birth control? Yeah.
Obviously, they don't do any of that.
None. Who's that?
Oh, and also they make Max look. Oh, look at the look in his face of like,
he's not even that kind of dog. You know, he's a Chihuahua.
He looks like he's into it for a degree. And also, I think it's kind of cute. Like, how many other people nowadays dress their dog up to be a reindeer?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they act like that was a real reindeer horn. It wasn't. I made it out of foam.
My wife puts our dog in a hot dog costume.
Yeah.
He hates it.
And that's not abuse?
It is abuse. And
it is abuse.
I have reported her numerous times to the SCPCACPCA and said, hey, my wife keeps putting my dog in a hot dog costume. I can tell he can't get out of it. He doesn't like it. But he doesn't have any, he doesn't have an opposable thumb, so he can't get out of the stupid costume. But she does it every year, like Halloween. Like, she thinks it's funny, which basically it's torture. It's animal torture.
Yeah, it's cute.
She thinks it's cute. He hates
abuse.
The dog hates it.
He did. Max didn't like it. I'll be honest. I shouldn't have done it, but we had an appearance. We had appearances to make, and he and I did talk about it.
And how many people are here? How many who's?
Dozens.
What is the cacophony that comes from that? They're not all hitting. There's only, 5-point harmony. There's 100 people here singing in unison. You want a choir next door singing at the top of their lungs?
At 7 a.m.
Dude, honestly, somebody needs to rewrite this book.
Yes.
Maybe it'll have to be me from your point of view.
Yeah, and they need to.
Yeah, to go, hey, and it's instead of how the Grinch stole Christmas, how the Who's won't shut the blank up on Christmas morning.
Yeah.
And wrecked everybody's holiday. Let
me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Is it so wrong for a single guy with his dog to want to enjoy a quiet Christmas morning? Is that a crime, Jamie Kaler?
Well, let me say somebody next door to me just puts on like thrash metal. Maybe it's a music they love, smooth jazz, Smash Mouth, something like that. And they just go, oh, this is what I love. I'm going to play this all morning long. And you're like, well, I don't love that.
I didn't.
I don't want to hear puddles of mud. I don't want that today. It's Christmas. And they go, we don't care. We're going to play it. And 1,000 people are going to sing it and sing it and sing it and sing it and sing it. That's when, you know what? They're lucky you only went down and took some of their stuff. They're lucky you didn't just go down and just blow that place up. Because I know some people who might have.
Honestly, I even tried to resolve it peacefully. I didn't want to have the big explosion that's so common nowadays. I wanted to handle it through civil means, and I was ignored.
I can see that. And I think your patience and tolerance and to just trying to take things from them, to maybe teach them a lesson. And also, it's not like you took things and threw them in the trash. You just took them and held them. Yeah. So in a way, you didn't even steal it. You really just borrowed it because you brought it all back. Well, I think that because of this book, it's like we look back because, we think Jesse James was a good guy. He's a Civil War lunatic who was a bank robber and robbed people. Yeah. But it's all about publicity. And this guy, I think you should sue this guy for defamation.
I've tried. He's got an airtight law team. His legal team is amazing.
Well, I think he's still, the whole thing he did with fish, blue fish, red fish, green fish, yellow, whatever that thing.
Look, I know Larry and John, the red and blue fish, and they are still dealing with that stuff. Still to this day.
I'm sure they're having to go through the whole thing. And Horton. Oh, yeah. Horton here's a who?
Yeah.
Again, back to the who.
You know that the Cat in the Hat can't get a loan to buy a home because of the book was written about him and he trashed a house. He couldn't rent for years.
Terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
I mean, this guy, Dr. Seuss, has done so much damage to many, many characters that I think at some point he needs to be. And here's how you know. It's not even his name.
Yeah. What's
You
he
know,
hiding?
if you really stand behind your work, wouldn't you use your real name? Isn't it Geisel or something?
Yeah.
He
Theodore
goes by
Geisel.
Dr. Seuss because he knows that what he's doing is hurting people.
Yeah. And he spread the hate.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Horton thing. I know Horton went into deep, deep, deep depression after the whole Here's a Who thing.
You know, we have a support group.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, all of us that have been victimized. We talk. Horton's not doing well. He's not doing well.
That's the time to hear because we all love Horton.
Look, he was suffering from delusions of grandeur, hearing what he described as who's, and they weren't. He was having real issues, real mental issues. And he was struggling, man. And they made it into the book and they made it into the movie and they glorified all of it. You think it was glorified for Horton? No, sir. No,
it's terrible. Well, what's next for you, Mr. Grinch?
You know, I'm going to continue with my activism. I'm trying to raise Grinch awareness.
Sure.
Trying to, let people know I'm not a Grinch. I'm a what? What's have rights too? We have
what's do have rights. Yeah. And a lot of times, like, people say, what's happening? And you go, me, I am, because I'm a what?
Yeah. And I was going to do a Hallmark movie with Candace Cameron Bure. Yeah.
Oh, honestly, I don't know why Hallmark wouldn't just latch you up and bring you in. Because obviously, here's the other thing. At the end of this, it also says, I know you have, he kind of makes light of the fact that your heart grew 3 sizes. But as we all know, a swollen heart.
That's cardiomyopathy, and that's a very real condition.
It is. And, it can be very dangerous. And he's like, oh, it gave you super strength. But obviously, that was the adrenaline surge trying to save your life from your heart being swollen.
Let me tell you, the other day, I was in a store, a Target, and a little girl walks by. She's got the shirt with the Grinch X-ray from the animated movie, with a little cartoon heart drawn it, and it's got grow 3 sizes. They drew it like it was get 3 sizes bigger. Is it okay to make fun of my medical condition on a T-shirt?
No,
it's not. Hurts. It hurts, Jamie, and no one cares.
Well, I know since then you've had a pacemaker put in, I believe.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Look, and I have had zaps. It's not like the condition. Look, you have to be careful. I'm under so much medication you wouldn't even believe it.
Well, also this book's very old, and I know. I mean, honestly, you look great for your age.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do a lot of cardio and yoga.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of yoga and stuff, and I know you eat pretty healthy now.
Yeah, entirely green. I know that. See right there. That seemed like I was making some sort of joke like that, but no, I really am eating clean like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that the color green, people say green with envy. I think green gets a bad rap a lot of times because I love green. I'm Irish and I loved it. I love green, and I think it's a great color.
Green pride. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, you should have green pride and stuff. I know also that you're obviously single in this story, and you were living alone. Kind of a recluse, kind of out, but you just wanted to be off the grid. You were a naturalist.
Yes,
you love being out in the outdoors and stuff. And
I was recycling their garbage into stuff that I could use. I was being resourceful.
Well, I do know that you are a strong believer in having a small carbon footprint, and that's. Yes. I mean, I know you and DiCaprio have worked tirelessly to try to help save the earth.
Leo and I have been on the same page with that for a long time. We talk often about what we're going to do next. But, I'm just really trying to get the word out. I want some equality for not just me, but everybody. I want everybody to be happy.
Yeah.
And I want to save the earth for the kids.
It's all about the children, really.
It is. You have kids, right?
Well, yes, I have 2. And that's, you're on the Parents Lounge, you're being interviewed. And I read this book every year to my kids, but I read between the lines to my kids and tell them.
Hey, what do you tell them? Tell me how you work this.
Oh, I tell them. I said, here's a guy who's living alone, and obviously put yourself in other people's shoes. I try to teach my kids empathy, and I said, hey, you're alone up in a cave. It's just you and your dog. Kind of like the people at the end of the off ramp asking for money. Somebody who's a little down in their luck, but maybe just wants to be left alone. And then all of a sudden, this giant Coachella-like horrible music festival. How long could you listen to Ba Hoo Ba? That would get old quick.
like
And
10
then
minutes
you
top.
finally went down and tried to rectify the situation, and they're like, no, man, Christmas is happening with or without you. And so you kind of went a little overboard. You made your point, but you didn't, you took it, but you didn't destroy anything.
I didn't physically touch anybody. I didn't
No.
lay a finger on anyone.
No, and honestly, I mean, the value of all of that stuff couldn't have been over $1,000. So my guess is it's just a misdemeanor. Maybe.
Yeah, and like I said, I talked it down to some fines and community service.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also the jury was all who's because you live in an area where there's
I had no chance there.
You had no chance in that against that jury. No way.
And they were all hopped up on who mushrooms, so they didn't even know what was going on. They just know let's put him away with something. And they
I would imagine even in the courtroom they were just singing. Were they just singing all the time? Because that's all they seem to do is sing. They
weren't even listening when I gave my deposition. They didn't listen.
That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Hey, not to pry too much, but I know you were single when this story happened. But I know that you've been out. I know you're doing some online dating, and you've had some celebrity encounters. But
look, I had
a dating world like.
Right now, I'm just playing the field. This time of year, I always get a little extra attention. Some ladies are into it. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, I get it. Please, every St. Patrick's Day, chicks, as a redheaded Irish guy, I was like a St. Patrick's Day ornament that girls wanted to play with. And
well, I had an ornament they wanted to play with. And so
yes.
I had it. Tara Reid and I had a thing briefly.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Those were wild party days. I thought I had a shot with Jodie Sweetin, but it never really found its course. But I feel like there was a missed opportunity there.
Well, I feel like anyone who really loves Christmas is going to love you,
and I agree with that.
Yeah, and there's a whole.
I've got a lot of love to give, Jamie, and I just don't. A lot of people won't. Now there are some who use me. I mean, they use me. They think I've got more money than I do, but I spent it. It's gone. I just want somebody who sees me for me, who wants to see my soul, who wants to, maybe have a glass of wine and talk. That's what maybe go on a wine tour. Is that so wrong?
No, I think that sounds fantastic. But I'm sure a lot of people, like if you walked into a wine tour, people are like, oh, the Grinch is here.
Yeah. And I've been blacklisted from a lot of places and I didn't even do anything.
No. And I think a lot of people still associate you with the beginning of the book, but in the end of the book, it seems like it's going well. It goes so well, they let you cut the roast beast.
Yeah. Well, that's a euphemism for drugs. I should probably have told you that.
Oh, that makes
not
so
actually.
You're cutting up the roast beast.
Yes, you are there, my friend.
Oh yeah, there he is, right there. Yeah, look at the smile on your face in the book.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed? Look how whitewashed that is.
Yeah, the whole thing's very whited out.
They remake that now. They're gonna make it with Scarlett Johansson. Mark my words.
Code. She would probably play Cindy Lou Boo-Hoo right there.
Yeah.
With
Who would play me? You think now?
You right now, Ben Affleck. Probably Ben.
Yeah.
He's got that. I went through some problems. I had a family for a while, but now I'm back with J-Lo. Yeah. But I used to really like gambling and maybe had a little too much roast beast.
Yeah. And there's a rugged handsomeness to him.
Which I think you have, and I think that's why it would be good. Although Jim Carrey might, he might return. Maybe a younger Jim Carrey now.
Yeah. I always felt, given the material he was given, he did an okay job. He really did.
Oh, I love Jim Carrey. I thought he did a fantastic. Maybe a Shia LaBeouf, because I think he's a great actor, but he's also damaged. He could emote that horrible feeling of a loner who lives up in a cave, who just is annoyed by this little town of people who won't stop singing. Why won't they stop singing?
I don't know, but they won't.
Won't shut up.
You know what I would like to see? I'd like to see a story about my childhood in Iowa. I'd like to see the story about the farm. Maybe Sam Elliott plays my dad.
Oh, I totally see Sam Elliott. And who would be the other Grinch siblings? Yes, Sam Elliott would be he'd be the dad, absolutely. Yeah. I think the other the Grinches would be who? Rebel Wilson, probably as a sister.
Yeah, Rebel Wilson would be great as my sister Sarah.
Yeah, obviously Paul Rudd.
And, Paul Rudd, he's eternally fantastic in everything.
Eternally fantastic. I honestly, I think there's a clause where The Rock has to be in every single movie made.
He does. Yeah, he actually, when
Historically,
they do the next reboot, he's actually scheduled to be in it. He and Kevin Hart.
yeah,
As
him and
Yeah,
Kevin
Kevin
Hart
Hart's
are
gonna be next.
I mean,
Yeah.
and with Ryan Reynolds, like the three, like every movie is like, hey, let's see what these three guys can do about the Cuban Missile Crisis. Let's see what The Rock, Kevin Hart, and Ryan Reynolds can do with the War of 1812. Like any story, you know.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is going to play the Who police officer, and Gal
Amazing.
Gadot's going to play Cindy Lou Who.
Oh, of course she is.
Of course he is.
It'd be fantastic at it too.
Yeah,
You wouldn't, and we'll just go away from having to cast it as a child. We just cast it as an adult, and then
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah, and you can see what they can do with CGI now. They can make her look 7 if they want to.
I mean,
But
she
she's
looks
got
young.
the following.
She does look young. She looks young anyway, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what else. I thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been
Hey,
fantastic.
thank you for having me. I loved coming. Thank you for getting the word out. That's what I appreciate, Jamie Kaler. Thank you for letting a guy like me say what needs to be said. The things nobody talks about.
I mean, how the Grinch stole Christmas.
Yeah.
How do you
the
steal
Grinch
somebody's Christmas?
Just needed people to shut up and leave him alone.
They buried the lead first and foremost because you don't steal Christmas.
No.
You can't steal Christmas. It's again another aspersion against you, the Grinch. You're just a cat minding your own business on a hill next door. These people, 7 a.m, ba-hoo, ba-ray, annoying. And so you did what you had to do to try to stop it.
I couldn't. And I tried to be peaceful. I did. I called the authorities. They don't talk about that in the book.
Well, and also I think they do talk about at the beginning of the book that this happens every year. How many years did you let this go with like, okay, you know what? I'll be the better person. I'll be the bigger man, the bigger Grinch. Year after year after year. This is something where honestly, I mean, it's almost temporary insanity because you're just like, I can't take anymore. They won't stop singing.
In a non-Who, if I had been a non-Who jury, I don't even know that they'd have been able to commit me. There was no way that they could have convicted.
Well, I mean, your lawyer should have asked to move it to a different, probably.
But he was a Who. He was the only one around. I didn't know any better. I was young.
And you took the log out of the fireplace. That happened.
Yeah, I'm not proud of that.
No, that was. I mean,
it was
they'd feast.
People are starving in the world, and they're going on like this.
Yeah, and won't stop singing. And I mean, obviously, when they say "who pudding," pudding is code for drugs.
Yes, correct.
Roast beef, we already talked about, was drugs. So they're mixing drugs and alcohol at that point.
Yes.
I mean, who else acts that happy?
No one.
If somebody hopped up on drugs and alcohol.
Nobody's that happy at Christmas.
Nowadays, nobody's that happy.
Nobody.
It's ridiculous.
And they broke so many rules last year with COVID. They were still having parties. Yeah, you know.
I think a lot of this is, again, Dr. Seuss, not his real name.
You're all right, Jamie Kaler. You're all right.
Thank you, Mr. Grinch. I really appreciate that. How's Max these days?
He's getting up there in age, but he went out on a date last night. Yeah.
Did he really?
Still dating at his age. Yeah, hanging in there. Let him take the sleigh. He, a little girl he met at PetSmart. It was fantastic. He seems really happy. I'm happy for him.
Sweet. Max seems
we
like
don't live together anymore, but we still talk every day.
Oh, and he's moved on?
No, he's moved on. Well, he invested his money. He got into Bitcoin early on.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's, he got some residuals from this. I know you guys.
Yeah. And I get some residuals, it pays basic bills, but Max is doing a lot better than me, but he still checks in.
Oh, that's sweet. It's good to see you guys are still close. Because
and if I abused him, would that be how it is?
No, I don't see any signs of abuse in this. I mean, obviously, you're trying to get the sleigh up the hill. Yeah. We have a problem. We're here. This is now. How do we get out of here? There's just the two of you. Obviously, he can't steer. He doesn't have he doesn't have fingers. He's got to do the pulling.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. He's a dog. He's way stronger. He should do the pulling. So in reality, I feel like you did the best in that situation that you could.
I did. I did my best.
Yeah.
And I was patient.
You saved his life because he was hanging over the cliff and you pull him back, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So I made some basic breaking and entering, a little B&E, and a little petty theft. Yeah. So what? So what? I was tormented and harassed. You know, they used to vandalize my house.
Well, but yes. And by house, you mean your cave.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's my home.
Well, I'm sure they went out there climbing. They did some hikes and, maybe urinating around the area.
You know what they do?
What?
They filled bags with dog poop and lighted on fire on my doorstep.
Oh, they really like pranked you hard.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not even in the book.
No, ironic, isn't it? Yeah, the Who's don't get painted the way things were. No.
Well, I think what we're going to do over the next year is we are going to write this book from your point of view. And of course, it won't be How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It would be how the Grinch was totally annoyed every Christmas for years until he finally stood up for himself.
Yeah,
it's a long title, so maybe we'll
that's
find
that's the right title for this story.
Yeah, it should be like How the Grinch was just sitting alone, minding his own business, and his next door neighbors wouldn't shut the blank up. So he finally he took matters into his own hands. Yes. That's how I would write the book.
Yep, and that's completely true. That's how it should be. Thank you. Let's work on that. Let's do that.
Well, listen, that was fantastic. Everybody, let's big hand for the Grinch and have a great. What are your plans for Christmas this year?
Hey, Max is coming over with his new lady friend. I think we're gonna play some games, maybe eat some Chinese food, and watch the game.
Sounds like that sounds like a great Christmas, Grinch.
Yeah.
All right, my brother. Take care.
Good night, buddy. Wow.
Wow, Jace. There's a lot of things. First of all, that Max was consenting is like very new information, like really big information.
And I guess nobody ever thought to ask him, publicly.
No, I know. Also, big. I don't know if you caught this during the interview, but big message in the chat. Vum.org, really huge.
Yeah, I don't know what vum.org is, but I guess everybody should check it out if you really want to lose your identity at Christmas and probably all of your savings.
Yeah, if you were feeling like, I'm so sick of having my money exactly where I thought I put it, check out that website. Also, just real quick, Jason, I found online, there's a tweet that's sort of going around that says, and I just wish that Jamie had invited us to interview the Grinch with him, but that's fine. You're a complicated one, Mr. Grinch. You're probably dealing with your own S, and we shouldn't have put you on blast like that. I wonder if
that might be the truest thing I've ever heard today. I mean,
so you are definitely Team Grinch, you would say.
Yeah. After hearing what he had to say, yes.
Yeah, I know. There was a lot of
Are you not?
I am. I just feel like I wish we could get an interview with Geisel too. You know what I mean? Like, may he rest in peace. But I think there's two sides to every story, and I think probably the truth lies somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
I feel like the stuff that the Grinch copped to, I believe, like obviously. Oh man,
I have no way of knowing that. I
mean, we can only hope. We can only hope there's Grinch NFTs.
He did, however, say that Max got into Bitcoin early on. So I guess he's doing all right.
And he's got a new lady. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that he met at PetSmart, which I guess, wow. Max has really got it going on.
Max is the one that sort of walked away from that the best.
Jamie kind of told me that, he's thinking about, maybe as the Parents Lounge, taking a peek at one of those support group meetings that they've got going on with all of, the characters that we thought that Seuss that came up with, but apparently, real victims.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 It's there's just a lot. There was a lot there. I'm sorry you couldn't be there for that. That's a bummer.
He wouldn't let me. And he gets this major interview, and I thought we were partners. I thought we were buddies. Yeah. And he didn't, he said no, maybe down the line, slugger. Yeah, that's how he
it's so demeaning.
Ugh. Yeah, it was a little bit. He treats me like Adam West treated Burt Ward. It's
okay.
It's ugly.
He treats you like Adam McKay treats Will Ferrell. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
I took another Adam and made him more curtain.
Yeah. Well,
hey, we gotta get to bed for Santa.
We do. So
So,
Kate, Merry Christmas to you and all
Merry
your
Christmas
guys.
to you, Jason. Thank you, and to yours, to you and your
Jason,
boys.
anything else?
so when we check the Santa, so we're to check the Santa tracker when the show's over.
Yep.
Yeah,
As you
we'll
should.
check it again.
Yeah, you should check it again. We just checked it here, and he was in Greenland.
Oh,
Okay.
it's getting
You know?
closer.
He's getting closer. I think Greenland's closer than Scotland. I don't know.
I think it is.
Music-
I don't know.
Music
I don't
just
know.
came on
I
the
don't know
screen.
maps.
I don't know maps either.
Well, Merry Christmas to you guys. Merry Christmas,
to you.
everybody. Merry Christmas, Jobo.
Jobo, Merry Christmas to you and yours, you sweet man, our dear friend Jobo. And Merry Christmas to everybody who tuned in, whether you're watching it live or after Christmas. Thank you for joining us for the exclusive.
We'll be back Tuesday night, and it'll be another party with the Parents Lounge. Claire and Jamie will be back with us, I think, unless Jamie's hot-shotting for Hollywood Story at that point.
Who's to say? Who knows?
Merry Christmas, and good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye. Good night, Jace. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.